What's up, world? Welcome back to another episode of What You Need to Know. My name is Brian D. Exclusive. I do apologize that I've had this long hiatus from posting. That sickness that I was trying to fight off and was in absolute denial about just totally kicked my butt for the last few days. And, in order to make sure I give you guys the best content possible, it just wasn't feasible for me to get on camera. That said, the world is completely unraveling. The United Kingdom is about to have what looks like a potential revolution. They are going out in mass numbers in the streets protesting this Islamic takeover of their entire civilization. And, I talk about this all the time, especially in my short form content. I'm going to start doing better about making my long form content actually match the short form content. But I, I am very passionate about the destruction of our culture and our society. And the number one way to destroy a society is to penetrate the culture. It's to take away the things that people usually would feel proud about in their societies. And that could be their music, their art, their food, their clothing. There's a number of different things that we all connect to as people. And it doesn't matter if you're in Europe or if you're in America, because in the Midwest, it's a very different culture than if you go to Arkansas or if you go to Arizona. We just all have ways that we have kind of connected together and it's created a group. And if you want to destroy strength, you destroy the unity of our culture. And there's a few ways that they've done this. Most recently, it's all about the immigration, these false asylum seekers that are running away from countries that have been strategically put into wartime scenarios so that way some people do feel the need to flee, but that way they could also throw in a huge number of military aged males and have them basically Trojan horse inside of countries all over the world. And before the mass migration, it was the transgender ideology. And, there was a multitude before, but just to keep things somewhat strategically concise for this video, the trans issue was the most widespread psyop in recent history to destroy culture. Because what it did is it created this meme terminology that is othered everybody. And that doesn't matter if you're talking about the left or the right, because each side feels like the other side is the other. And at one point, we didn't. We used to maybe disagree about taxes or how much money we should allocate to the roads. And, we maybe even would agree about or disagree about foreign spending and, various things. But most people really didn't care. It wasn't a tribal issue because at the end of the day, we were still American. We had our culture. But when you make it so watching football or watching a reality TV show has to be a political statement, everything gets divided. And as they penetrated our minds with this transgender ideology, it it has created so much division that the talking points weren't even allowed to be discussed. Now, the reason I think that so many terrible atrocities have taken place in the last few years from people that are suffering from this ideology is because, just like with the vaccination situation, there was not proper informed consent, not for the parents that had their children go through this, and not for a lot of adults. And you can see that with the transgender community that has been very outspoken about how wrong the modern philosophy of how we handle this has been. But by handling this situation incorrectly, what we have done is we have given people with a genuine mental illness, a genuine brain and balance, the ability and the freedom to go out and do anything. And now we have a large number of mass shootings that have taken place by these individuals. And I always hear it's not true. You can't say that it's a bunch of transgender people, blah 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 blah. And it's funny because for a long time they would just always group everybody into, oh, it was a white guy. Oh, it was a white guy. Well, there's a internet meme, I'm sure you've seen it, that really hits the nail on the head about this. It comes from Timcast. Let's check that out real quick. Play.
The Denver shooter was trans, the Aberdeen shooter was trans, the Nashville shooter was trans, the Georgia shooter was trans, the Philadelphia shooter was trans, the Uvalde shooter was trans, the Colorado shooter was trans, and now the Minnesota shooter was trans. I think one of the things that you see being pointed out by the Walsh types is that even if there is no clear ideology, there is something in the water with the untouchable nature of the trans identity until just the past really year that you could even talk about it frankly, and what appears to be a kind of underlying mental instability that tends to disproportionately give rise to these school shootings.
Now, first off, that's 100% accurate, but I just want to dive into that a little bit. It's not just the fact that there's a disproportionate number of people that have this ideology. They are putting chemicals into your body. Let's take away the trans conversation. If I went up to you and said, here is a large dose of a hormone, ingest it, do you think that it'll have an effect on you, positive or negative, but an effect, period? The answer is yes, obviously. If you think no, I don't even understand how you figured out how to get onto YouTube. But obviously, if you ingest a hormone, it's going to make you have an effect, positive or negative. Now, if these individuals are taking hormones and they are on a large number of them, that is going to have an effect. Now, the argument is that it's going to have a positive effect and that it's supposed to balance them out. But there's no studies that really show that. All that we see is mass numbers of people going out and committing violent atrocities. And it's disingenuous to people when they're going into a situation that really could just be solved from better nutrition, better workout regimen, just, maybe going out and socializing a little bit, because when you're young, you really need to socialize. It's not like when you're an adult and you can kind of get away with it. But like I was saying a little bit at the beginning, the situation in the United Kingdom involving the culture being destroyed and specifically involving the immigration issue, which back in June here in America, we went through it like crazy. But we have these videos popping up from, well, I got this off of Twitter, but they're popping up all over the place. And hit play. You can see that there's a bunch of people that are just absolutely tired of having these fake asylum seekers come in and destroy their culture. And they're tired of their flags being taken down. They're tired of their lives being destroyed. And they're coming out and they're speaking out and they're ready. They're ready for a revolution. And that doesn't mean there will be one. But the West is sick of this. All right, stop it. And what's wild is the United Kingdom, according to this video, and make sure you do your own fact checking on everything. I'm just a person, and there's only so much that I can do as a person. But that said, there's this video here that is indicating that the United Kingdom is either going to or has already implemented policies that are going to make it so if you are a United States citizen and you post things that they do not like and you end up going to the UK on, let's say, some kind of vacation or a work-related venture, you could be arrested. They are going into the same territory as North Korea. Let's check this out. All right, play.
Americans can now get arrested upon entry into the UK for social media posts done in America, meaning the UK has just joined the likeness of countries like North Korea and Saudi, where they do not recognize Americans' rights. The American Center for Law and Justice says that if an American speaks in the United States in a way UK officials construe as affecting their national interests or even producing substantial effects within the country, even if that's just a statement about your Christian faith or your political stance, then you could be arrested upon entry in the UK. So the UK does not recognize the United States' First Amendment right of free speech.
In the video. See, what's wild about that is it really shows the deterioration of the American power. Either that or it's a shadow okay from the deep state. Either way, they are no longer going to be recognizing our fundamental freedoms, which was something that I guess we just took for granted because I never imagined in a million years that we were going to experience this. And what's really wild is all of this is happening at a time where new discoveries in the Christian religion are coming out. And as you know, and I'll make a dedicated video about this, but in Nigeria there is a Christian genocide taking place. It's it's atrocious. So as Christian culture in the West has been demonized, and as Christian culture in the United Kingdom, which is also the West, but it's different hemisphere, um, they they are discovering these ancient, and I mean ancient, settlements that are biblical. Archaeologists find 1600-year-old churches and mural of Jesus in Egyptian desert settlement. Structures show transition from paganism to Christianity. And I find it wild that there's more and more proof of different parts of the Bible. Whether or not that means that it's 100%, I mean, I can understand how people are going to still argue against it. I think it is. But it's wild that as they find more and more proof of different aspects of the Bible, we have these complete destructions of everything that has really resulted because of the Bible. And if you don't understand what I mean, the the foundation of America would not be possible without the Bible. That's a really deep topic. We're gonna have to make a separate video about that. Um, but it's 100% true. The ability to free slaves is inherently from the Bible. And I know people are like, but there was slavery in the Bible. The Bible is talking about things that happened. It doesn't mean that it condones it. It means that it was. But as our culture is being destroyed and as the freedom of thinking and religion slowly goes away, there's one man that keeps on coming back up. And it's somebody that I do feel mixed about because there should be a lot of skepticism about anybody with a lot of power. But Elon Musk, the man that freed Twitter, that basically brought free speech back to the internet, that I mean, Mark Zuckerberg would not have done what he did on Meta if Elon did not buy Twitter, and that is just a fact. So we have a number of people out in the UK that are chanting that they want Elon to do something. And he actually responded on Twitter and asked what he could do. So, all right, play the video.
Help us out! Elon, help us out! Save our fucking Soviet out!
Yep, they're chanting, Elon, help us out.
Fucking Soviets out! Elon, help us out! Soviets fucking Soviets out! Elon! Quiet, everybody!
And you know things are getting desperate when all they can do is come out and chant for Elon to help them. But, I mean, if you were in a situation where you were being arrested, I mean, we kind of went through a lot of close similarities here, but nothing quite as far as what's happening there. If you were getting arrested for saying that you love bacon, if you were getting arrested for social media posts while you're out walking with your baby, if you are being persecuted based on the color of your skin, then all you can do is cry for help from the most powerful businessman in the world. And I have this clip here of this couple who basically was saying that the United Kingdom is starting to take some notes from America, and they're becoming way more proud of their flag. Because, I mean, all you can do after a certain amount of watching your flag get taken down and destroyed and dismantled is become gun ho about keeping it. So, all right, play the video.
How is it not okay to fly your own flag in your own country and be proud? Americans, we don't know if you have seen, but right now in the UK, something magical is happening.
We are putting flags up everywhere. We just drove back from Ireland, and everywhere, bridges, sign, lamppost, everywhere has the Union Jack flying, the English flag, the Welsh flag. Very cool to see.
We are taking note from our American brothers and sisters. We are flying the flag, the British flag, high and proud. And it's amazing because that's one thing that we love about America.
Yeah.
Is how you guys are so proud and you are so patriotic and you have the American flag flying everywhere. Huge flags. We don't have any huge flags like that over in the UK.
Oh yeah, no, but it gives us goosebumps when we see these US flags.
But there is something going on with that. The media is somehow twisting it and selling it in a negative light, using the R word, if you know what I mean.
And these flags are being taken down.
They're taking flags
Because
down.
people are too sensitive and can't handle it.
How is it not okay to fly your own flag in your own country and be proud? How is that an issue in any way? We want to know your thoughts on that, Americans. Do you think that is absolutely absurd, not being able to fly your own flag in your own country and being proud? I know how bloody proud you guys are, so I know it's going to annoy you as much as it annoys us.
Yes, let us know.
Well, as much as it might surprise some of you out in the United Kingdom, but we are starting to have very similar things happen here. It's not quite that bad, but we are in a position where the left is constantly saying that the flag is racist. If you are seen with an American flag, like on your hat or on your clothes, it's automatically assumed that you must be far right or white nationalist, or they always have some kind of a slur that they're throwing out because you're proud of the flag. But honestly, what we need is more people, whether you're in the UK, whether you're in Australia, whether you're here in America, that is willing to go out and support your flag. Make nationalism okay again. Just because somebody supports a nationalist idea because they're proud of their country, because they want people to know about their culture, about their nation, that doesn't mean that they're inherently a bad person and automatically a racist. It's just not the way the world works. And there's this girl who made a video talking about how fast her country has been taken and turned into this basically unrecognized state. I mean, the United Kingdom has so much history inside of it, and it's just overnight. But yeah, let's check that out. Play.
You know, we've been saying it for years, it's not chaos, it's planned. Port migrants, destroy culture, jail citizens for criticism, turn the police against the citizens, invoke digital IDs or surveillance, bankrupt nations to eliminate governments, eliminate private property, that will no longer exist. And the final step will be to transfer citizens to a global government. And this is also the reason for the cost of living crisis, to keep you busy surviving, so you never start fighting back or living. And if you ask me, you absolutely cannot screw up a country this bad, this fast, unless it were on purpose. Now please change my mind.
100% accurate. I don't know who this person was because this was just on Twitter like it is, and for whatever reason, people have this bad habit of just stealing content. She deserves credit because that's actually a very accurate take. It's planned. And there's no way that you destroy a country as old and as prosperous as the United Kingdom. Well, I guess the United Kingdom technically has many previous nations inside of it, the United Kingdom. But you don't have something as strong as that deteriorate as fast as it has without it being malicious, without there being some kind of an act. And I think this is the reason that everybody's been so upset at Candace for calling out Macron, which when that series was happening, I didn't even watch. And I watch most of Candace's content. I just think that it's usually intriguing. It's fun while I'm just doing things to have it on in the background. But I didn't watch that series at all. But the fact that people have had such a backlash about it shows that people are so desperate to destroy the culture of everything white, everything Christian, everything old, that just simply acknowledging what seemed like an obvious fact. I mean, as soon as it was pointed out, I was like, oh, yeah, I could see it. Maybe not. But the way that it's been handled, it makes it seem so true. And it makes it just clear that destroying the culture is all that they're doing. All right. Yeah, the United Kingdom is going through it. My camera's dying, so I have to end this pretty quickly. If you enjoy my content, like, comment, subscribe. Follow me on all social media platforms at Brian D Exclusive. I do have a Patreon in the description. And make sure that you let people know what's happening out in the United Kingdom, because this is a serious situation and it's going to happen here in America. It's happening in Australia. It's going to happen everywhere if we are not vigilant about this. I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.